for February the 20th and the 21st, because we're going to get into some early morning soccer for Sunday. We got a huge slate today on Saturday. We got boxing, we got tennis, we got soccer, we got some NBA, and we got a whole lot of basketball to go over. A lot of picks to go through. So let's start out with the Aussie Open. Tough loss yesterday with Jennifer Brady. Couldn't handle that first set, and once that first set went down, Naomi Osaka went right through her, and good win for Naomi. Jennifer Brady just once again the bridesmaid in a big major. All right, let's go to the men's side, and I think you know where I'm going with this because I've been writing them all tournament long, and I think the new guard is about to take over, and this is the leader of the new guard, and that's Daniel Medvedev at minus 105. Really like him here. I think he'll be able to handle Novak Djokovic and get a major here. I also, in this, other than the Daniel Medvedev to win minus 105, I like Daniel Medvedev, Novak Djokovic to go over 40.5 games at minus 125. So two Aussie Open final bets for the men's side. Medvedev at minus 105 and the Medvedev Joker over at 40.5 games. So let's get into some boxing. We got some boxing this afternoon in Great Britain, and we got some boxing tonight. Really big matchup versus Oscar Valdez and Miguel Burchelt. That should be a great matchup. But let's start out in England. We're going to ride Jordan Gill versus Cesar Juarez over 8 rounds. This should just be a tactical and not really a big punching fight. This should easily go the distance. So Jordan Gill versus Cesar Juarez over 8 rounds. Next up, we're going with Gigi Valenzuela plus 333 versus Robbie Davis Jr. Really like Valenzuela here at plus 333. I haven't liked Robbie Davis. Had a bad loss a couple fights ago. I think Gigi will be able to give him at least a bit of a test here, and I really like the value in the plus 333 here. Both are definitely solid fighters, and I think this will be a pretty close fight, so decent value at the plus 333. We're going to go to the big-time England prospect, Josh Kelly, minus 175 versus David Avienzen. Josh Kelly had a tough draw 2 fights ago, but I think he really is a legit prospect, and the minus 175 seems a little low. I think he'll be much better than he showed a couple fights ago, but I really like this guy, and I really like the minus 175 here. So let's go to the big one tonight, Oscar Valdez versus Miguel Burchelt. This should be a great high-action fight. I really wanted to take the under 10 here. I think there's a high chance of a knockout here with a lot of KO potential, but I also think these are 2 tough guys. I think they're just going to go to war. We're going to get a Morales-Barrera style fight, and I think this really would be scary to take the under in because I think these 2 will just war with each other. But I'm going to go with Oscar Valdez plus 300 here. I just love the way he fights. I've enjoyed the way he fights for a little while now. Miguel Burchelt is a real warrior in there, so this really would be a tough one to take against, but I just like Oscar Valdez. I think his clean power punching will come through, and he might be able to hurt Burchelt if he catches him in the right spot. So Oscar Valdez plus 300. All right, let's go to tomorrow morning soccer. We got a handful of games to get through here. We're going to start in the Premier League. Only one game I really liked, and that was Tottenham plus 165 versus West Ham. I think Tottenham's about to go on a roll here. I think they will be able to handle West Ham, who's played really well this year. But I think we're about to see a little bit of a Spurs run here, and I think Jose will have them going. Good win over the week in the Europa League, and I look for some goals here. I think Tottenham breaks through plus 165 versus West Ham. Let's move to the Spanish Premier League and La Liga. Real Sociedad to win. Both teams to score plus 310 versus Alaves. Really good matchup here. Real Sociedad dropped the ball a little bit in the Europa League. I think they bounce back for a high-energy, high-scoring game and take care of Alaves here. Really like that plus 310 with Real Sociedad to win and both teams to score. On to the Bundesliga. Hoffenheim to draw, no bet, minus 185 versus Werder Bremen. Werder Bremen really has struggled so far this year, so I look for Hoffenheim, who's played pretty solid soccer, to take this one. Draw, no bet, so you at least get the off chance you get your money back if there is a draw here, but I really like Hoffenheim here. Let's move on to Augsburg versus Bayern Leverkusen, under 2.5. Think Bayern will be a little tired here, a little worn down as we go after that really exciting Europa League battle. We'll recall the young boys pick there. We think this one will be played at a much slower pace, especially with Bayern Leverkusen going on the road. So we like the under 2.5 plus 115 here. Let's move to Italy. We got a really big matchup. We'll get to that, but first we'll go to the other big matchup on Sunday at Atlanta, minus 115 versus Napoli. Really like at Atlanta minus 115 here. I think Napoli will be hot and cold. They were hot last week versus Juve. If you can say that, they got an old goal and got a win, but the defense was solid, but I don't think it'll be healthy. I think Atalanta will take advantage of that and put some goals on Napoli here. I really like Atalanta minus 115. I also like Joseph Illich to score plus 190. Joseph's starting to find his rhythm that he had early in the season last year before he had some personal issues. I look for him to get a goal here versus Napoli. And then the really big one, the Milan derby, AC Milan versus Inter Milan. I love AC Milan here. I haven't liked the way Inter has looked. AC Milan, I think, and Zoltan will be able to take this one and put some more pressure on Inter Milan in that Serie A title race. AC Milan, draw no bet, plus 160, really good value. I also took an exact score prediction here. AC Milan 2-1 over Inter Milan. That pays 11.5 to 1, so I think that's some pretty decent value there. So that's our soccer for tomorrow morning. Let's go to some NBA tonight, and we're going to go to the Sacramento Kings minus 2.5 versus the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls are on a back-to-back, played a tough game versus the Philadelphia 76ers. We got that cover. We had the Chicago Bulls. Now let's look for that Bulls letdown that will come. Sacramento should be able to handle them. I love taking West teams playing Eastern Conference teams, especially those mid-level Western Conference teams who know they need these wins versus the Eastern Conference. So Sacramento Kings minus 2.5 versus the Chicago Bulls here. All right, let's go to college basketball. A huge Saturday filled with games. We're going to bring on our man, Dynamite David, for his college basketball picks before I get to mine. Dynamite, what you got for us?
Hey everyone, Dynamite David here with your NCAA Dynamite picks for today, February 20th, Saturday. I've got 8 NCAA picks for you today. A lot of action, good games today. Maybe 9. There's one I'm watching that I may tweet out later that I really like. If they get a little bit more points, right now Texas Tech is only getting 1.5 on the road at Kansas. If they get a little bit more there, I'll probably jump on that last minute. But for now, I've got 8, and we're going to go through those real quick. I'm going to start with Illinois, minus 4.5 at Minnesota. Wake Forest, plus 1.5 versus NC State. Oregon State, plus 6.5 versus Colorado. Washington, minus 1.5 versus Cal. Virginia, minus 2.5 at Duke. Stanford, minus 5.5 at Washington State. West Virginia, plus 3.5 at Texas. And last off, I'm going to go with my Vols, Tennessee, minus 6.5 versus Kentucky. Back to you, champ.
All right, thanks, Dynamite. Those are some Dynamite picks. Now let me get to mine. We're going to start out with Villanova, minus 6.5 versus UConn. Yes, we're going to continue to ride this UConn wave and see how much they can break my hearts. We've been picking them now for, I think, 3 games in a row picking against them. They've managed to win both those games I picked against them. Let's see if Villanova can take them down, and the minus 6.5. I look for a double-digit win today versus Villanova. We got the Kentucky-Tennessee game. We're going to play the over here at 136.5. I really thought after that Tennessee score fest earlier in the week, this might bump up to 140. I was pleasantly surprised to see the 136.5. So we're going to take the over here. Look for Tennessee's offense to bounce into another good game. They've had a couple good games mixed with one really bad one. I think they'll be able to hit this over 136.5. We're going to take another team we took earlier in the week. Loyola Marymount continued their hot play versus San Francisco. I really like them getting 7.5 at home today versus BYU. I think that's a really, really nice line. Just love the way Loyola Marymount is playing here. And BYU has had a great season, but I think they'll struggle going to the Marys here at the end of the year. I think Marys can cover this 7.5 points. Speaking of a tough night, Wright State had a tough night the other night versus Northern Kentucky. They're 8.5 again. They were 8.5 yesterday. I look for them to cover today and bounce back after a tough loss yesterday. Wright State clearly the class of that conference, and I think they'll bounce back here and put it on Northern Kentucky. Next, we're talking about points. We're going to talk about Bryant. Bryant minus 5.5 versus Merrimack. Bryant has not gotten all the wins they need with their high-scoring style, but Merrimack really struggles to go on the road here, and I look for Bryant to put it on them and cover that 5.5 pretty easy here if they can find any way at all to defend. Next up, we're going with UTC Ut Chattanooga plus 6.5 versus NC Greensboro. Really, really good game. Love the way UTC has played the second half of the season. NC Greensboro has remained a solid team all year long. Really fun team to watch. This should be a really, really good game. Just think this line is a bit bloated here, and I think there's pretty good value in Chattanooga getting the plus 6.5 here with the way they played in the second half of the season. And our last game in college basketball for the day, Virginia minus 2.5 versus Duke. Still giving Duke a lot of respect. I think Virginia, after that bad loss during the week to Florida State, goes into Duke, puts it on them. Virginia minus 2.5. Really good value there. I like that Virginia game a whole lot. All right. Be sure to follow us on greenlightnetwork.org, Greenlight Network on Facebook and YouTube. You can find me, GLNChamp5, on Twitter and Instagram. That's our show, and we're out.